it affects you and me, the differences, and how it affects our health in our daily lives. Ladies and gents, please give it up for Mr. Sean.
A very good morning to everybody. I leave it to you guys to enjoy your activities while you finish your games. It's good that if you could just spend time with me. It's a half an hour talk, and what I'm going to share with you is probably something that is inside of you, but you're not sure what is it, and I hope this is the kind of activity that I hope to create an awareness. A little bit from where I came from, I'm a public speaker. I write for the Petri dish. But today, thank you so much to PetroSains for inviting me as a member of the Young Scientist Network to share with you in conjunction with 20th birthday of PetroSains. It's really amazing that PetroSains is doing all this to create awareness. So today I will just touch a little bit about one very important topic, which is our health genetically destined? So for those of you who know what destiny means, it's like the moment you are born, you are destined to live a certain life. And to me, I felt genetics is one of the few things in our life that we cannot change or choose. So what are the things that we can't change or choose? We cannot change our parents. We cannot change our name, although some people want to change their name. And the other thing is that we cannot change our genetics. So whatever our parents give it to us in our genetics, that's what we live with. But sometimes you may have heard of stories like, if my parents have this disease, probably I may have that disease as well. So what we do right now is that in the Malaysian Genomic Resource Center, we are a public listed company. We are a Malaysian-made company. So when you think Malaysian Boleh, whether or not we all are there, we are there. So in Malaysia, we have a local company that already forms a genetic screening test. So if for those of you who are parents who have a cell phone coming up, maybe it's good to have some feedback. So I created an online event on Slido. So you just flash out your mobile phone, type in the URL sli.do, and you will be prompted an event code, which is GENEG. So there will be a question over there that asks you, do you believe that our health is genetically destined? Yes, no, yes and no, I don't know. So you let me know in the feedback later on. Okay, so a little bit, again, I wear many hats, but today I'm also representing my company. So I start my presentation by a very layman example. So those of you who have heard of this probably might find it very touching. That day in office, I received a call. It was a mom, and the mom was telling me that she recently lost her younger son due to sudden cardiac arrest. And that son was only 20 years old and died already of heart attack. So being very devastated and very nervous, the mom had an elder son. The elder son is now based in Singapore. And she immediately called to MGRC and they were saying like, is there a way that I can find out whether my elder son also has that same risk of getting a sudden cardiac arrest, because she cannot afford to lose another son. So she called her son, come all the way to Malaysia, do the blood test, do the screening, and they do find out that the whole family did carry a certain risk marker that increases his family's risk of getting a sudden cardiac arrest. And heart attack is unpredictable. You may be at age 20 and you still die of heart attack. And in fact, heart attack is the biggest killer in the world. And with Malaysian, over 60% of Malaysian adults are actually at risk of getting heart attack. Now, what do we do if you're the mom, if you're the dad, and you found out your kids do carry certain genes that make you at a higher risk of getting heart attack? What would you do? So this is a question that we ponder around. When we talk to doctors, when we talk to patients, Malaysians generally don't want to know their genetic risk because ignorance is bliss. They felt like, if I don't know, I don't get depressed, I will happily live my life, and whatever life takes me, I'll take it head on. But I hold a different perspective. I come from a technology company. We have the technology to find out what is your genetic risk. Why not make an informed choice about your lifestyle? So today I'm going to bring you through the journey of how us humans start to make sense of our human genetics, and we come to a point where we find meaning within our genetic code. So I'm just going to give out some leaflets just to demonstrate. Okay, I think for the kids, there's pencil over there. I can give it to them. Right. So what I have here in the envelope is a little small game. I bring you through the journey of a scientist inside the envelope. Okay, so later on, Matt, thank you so much for helping me distribute. Inside the envelope is a random word puzzle. So I need you to find certain word inside the word puzzle, and this word puzzle represents the random genetic code inside of us. So while you're doing that, let me bring you through what is genetics all about. Okay. So in a nutshell, this diagram shows how our DNA looks like. So this is us, the human being, and go microscopic, you see our cell. Under the microscope, I'm just figuratively saying, each and every one of us are made of millions and millions of cells inside our body. And inside our cell, there's a library called the genome. And here is where we store all the instruction to make us us. How hair look like, how our eye color look like. A genetic that is basically the recipe book of life stored in every single gene in our body. So the basic language of the DNA, while we have I think 26 alphabets A to Z, the DNA only has 4 alphabets: adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. Or in short, we call it ADGC. So we only have 4 alphabets: A, adenine, thymine, cytosine, guanine. And these 4 alphabets, or these 4 nucleotides, form all the information that we need to form the human life. Now that you know basically what is DNA, I need you to picture this. If you can't imagine what is DNA, whatever. So inside our cell, there's a recipe book. It's the recipe book of life. So the DNA is like the cookbook. The cookbook that your mom and your parents gave to you so that your cell knows what to do, what to create, how to react when you're sick, how to repair genes when it's broken. So everything is there. It's an instruction manual, like an SOP. What happens when you do that? So that's the DNA. Then it translates into RNA, which is the messenger, to every part of your body to tell them like, okay, this is the instruction for you to grow your hair black. This is the instruction for your eyes to grow certain colors. This is the instruction when you're having a stomach ache, and this is what you do when you want to relieve yourself. So a lot of information is stored in our DNA. So it tells the RNA what to do, and it becomes the protein. So if this is a cookbook, this is the recipe, this is the raw ingredient, and this is your end result, which is the spaghetti. You are the recipe of life. You are the end result of what life offers in your DNA. So protein is everything that you see living inside of you. That's all protein. So when we took the task of finding out what are the meaning behind our DNA, we look into what we call single nucleotide polymorphism. A very big word. Basically, it's trying to find out the 0.1% difference between you and me genetically. So we are maybe 60% similar to bananas in genetic. We are 75% similar to other animals. We are 90% similar to our 8 siblings. And we are 99.9% similar genetically between all of us here, the human population. That means what makes you and me different is only 0.1%. And that 0.1% is the one that we're looking for. So we did a population study, and we find that 0.1%. And we see what are the common gene patterns that is shared between population of a certain traits. So let's say we go to Europe, and we know some Europeans have a blue eye. They actually found out that the blue eye gene is actually inherited from a common ancestor. So that's how we know whether you're from European ancestry or you're from Asian ancestry. This is how we track your lineage of inheritance. So when we find the differences, we not only look into traits, we look into diseases. And this is the scary part. What if we find out things that we don't want to know? What will we make meaning out of it? So now I want to start this little game of us. So we will have a game. Inside every word puzzle, there's the athletic word, there is the heart attack word. Try to find the word inside the word puzzle over here. So I give you all like 5 minutes to find whatever words that is inside the word puzzle. You just have a look. Other pencil lah. Sorry. Alright, thanks. Is there a used puzzle there? Pencil, sorry. I think you can get the color. Ah, the color pencils. Can. It's different. Every puzzle is different. So this puzzle represents your unique DNA. And we're going to try 5 minutes, see whether you can find the meaningful word inside the puzzle or not. I'm going to give you a clue. It's athletic, it's heart attack, it's diabetes. So if you can find the word in 5 minutes. Nampak tak? Nampak tak? Okay, I see somebody found the word already. Cool. What word did you find?
Cancer.
Cancer. Alright. Cancer. Did anyone found the word longevity? Longevity. It's a very long word. Longevity. Longevity. Okay? Yeah, cool. Good. Anyone with problem finding a new word? Some puzzles are actually more difficult than others because there are also reverse. So that's why it's a bit hard to find. Okay. I've seen you before. You came here to PetroSains events. I think I've seen you before. You have a very unique gene, that's why I can recognize. Yeah. So we're gonna give another 3 minutes. Anyone cannot find even a single word. Try. Never mind. This is a scientist's journey. I wanted to simulate the environment, the journey of a scientist trying to find meaningful codes from our DNA, which is basically random words if you think about it. Okay? Alright, I'm just gonna give 1 more minute. Just give it a try. 1 more minute. Athletic. Athletic. Yes, that's a genius. There's a word inside the word puzzle as well. Okay, 30 seconds. 30 seconds. One last round. The final word. Going 10, 9, 8. Macam exam pula sekarang. Never mind, there's no results, there's no exam, don't worry. It's just experience. Alright, are we done? We can continue the word puzzle. I can give you the answer later, no problem. But in this short 5 minutes exercise, was it easy to find a meaningful word in the puzzle? Anyone? Do you feel that it's easy to find a meaningful word in the puzzle?
I found joy.
That's the non-targeted word that I'm looking for. The words that you should find in the word puzzle should be something related to health. Athletic, longevity, heart attack, diabetes. Can you all find it? Okay, I know the lady in the front here, you found a lot already, I think. Just read what are the words that you found.
Eyes, longevity, cancer.
Longevity, cancer. Anyone who found other words inside the word puzzle? Anyone else? Dapat? Ayat? Kata
Athletic.
Bukan LRT ya, athletic. Athletic, okay. Anyone? The gentleman at the back, did you find any word? No. Oh, he's still trying. Okay, never mind. I'm going to give you the answer. So now just revert back your attention to the slide. So was it simple? And we're talking about a word puzzle that only has 15 by 15 alphabets. The human genome, once it was sequenced, they found out that our human genome has 3 billion alphabets. So imagine trying to find a word, a meaningful word, or we call it a SNP or a variant that is meaningful to us. So how do we make use of this? So just now I heard people found longevity. Anyone found athletic? Athletic. 1, 2. Athletic. Okay, you found it already. So your gene and your gene has the same pattern. And coincidentally, we found out that you're a very good sports person. You're also going to be a very good sports person as well. So when we did this study, once we found out the genome, or 3 billion alphabet of it, what is our next approach to find meaningful data? This boy and this boy had a similar trait, and they also have a similar gene pattern. So we took a prediction saying that in a population of athletes, what is the common gene they have? And we made prediction saying that this common gene is contributing to your athletic ability. So you get the logic? Alright, so the study is called a genome-wide association study. It's not diagnostic, meaning if you have the gene, it's not guaranteed 100% your boy is going to be an athlete. But we made prediction that because all the athletes had that same gene pattern, we have high prediction saying that these two have the athletic potential. But athletic is a good feature, beneficial. What if it's the lady over here, you found cancer? Anyone who found the word cancer in their word puzzle? Not all of them have, just very clear. I'm not saying your gene also have, I'm just saying as an example. Okay, so what if you found all the cancer patients? The simplest example, breast cancer. You heard of it, it's called the BRCA gene, BRCA. BRCA1, BRCA2. And they found that BRCA has reached the clinical significance to say that if you have BRCA gene, and if your family has breast cancer, what we would advise you is that you go for more frequent monitoring. So if a lump do happens, you find out faster. So this is what we advise you for BRCA. It's not a death sentence if you found BRCA. In fact, the common misconception is that it's not having BRCA that causes you to have breast cancer. It is the mutation of BRCA that causes you to have cancer. Because BRCA is a repair gene. Whenever your gene is destroyed or miscopied, BRCA gene will fix the error for you. So BRCA is actually present in all of us. Whether the mutation is normal or abnormal, it's the one that we're trying to detect. So this is basically what I've explained earlier. In the beginning, like any other kid, we are learning how to read our DNA. So that's where the Human Genome Project, we had 3 billion nucleotides coming out. But we come up with 3 billion random alphabets. How are we going to read? What are we going to make meaningful sense out of it? So this is when Malaysian genomics come in the global trend, when they started to do a prediction, the genome-wide association studies. And they found out that there are certain traits that everybody shares, and these people share also the same genetic pattern. That is basically how it works. And now we have moved towards clinical. Like I said, BRCA is found to be clinically significant to contribute to breast cancer. So now we are discovering how far or how high the risk, if you have BRCA gene and you have family history, how high is the risk of you getting breast cancer. So now we have reached to this level, clinical applications of genetics. So coming back to the question, I hope you all have answered the Slido yes or no, because this is the answer already. Is your health genetically destined? The answer is yes and no. Because if let's say this chart represents your health, correct? There are two things that contribute to your current state of health. The small chunk over here is genetics, meaning it is by birth. You have a birth defect, or if you have a blood disease, you cannot choose. So that's why it's always very important to do prenatal screening. So make sure that your offspring won't carry undesirable genes or genes that may have permanent disability. So that's where you do prenatal, find out what are the genetics. It's congenital. Congenital disorder meaning baby sickness that only inflict the baby or at a very young age, like G6PD, that means the yellowish skin. Yeah, that's also genetics. So you need to find out whether your kids also may have. But it's not a death sentence, like I say. None of it is death sentence. You can find ways to treat it, but at least as parents, you find a way to treat the condition. You also may have heard of this kid syndrome where it's called ADHD, Attention Deficiency Hyperactive Disorder. So it's very common right now to have ADHD, but don't worry if your kids are having ADHD. It's just require a different type of teaching, different type of attention, different type of bringing to bring them up. MGRC's head of geneticists. He's a geneticist, he's a medical doctor, he's a professor in genetics, and just yesterday he told me that he has ADHD and he has a slight dyslexia. Dyslexia meaning he can't read words in a sentence properly. He probably also write in reverse, so that's dyslexic. But he's already a professor in genetics. So if my geneticist can be a professor in genetics with all those conditions, the birth by birth isn't gonna destine you to a certain limited life when he chooses. And more interestingly, his son was actually more dyslexic than him. So to encourage him to learn, he actually asked him to play computer games because that's the thing that would draw his attention. And now, although he's a geneticist, his son is a software developer for computer games. So would you say congenital disorder already destined your life? No, because there's a huge chunk of it, what we call somatic. Somatic means it is the mutation that we acquire through environment, when we expose to radiation, our environment's effect on our health. So this is the bigger chunk of it. It determines our physical fitness. It decides whether our cancer will appear, because we may have the gene, but if we take good care of our health, we will not trigger the cancer. And what is our behavior? So ADHD is one of the behavior. A lot of the kids' development also is behavior related. So I'm reaching closer to the end of my slides already. I wanted it to be a very short introduction. Later on, if you have Q&A, you can post the question directly to me, or you can post the question at Slido. I'm just going to end with a very simple story. And this is a study that always have been done in many American, European studies. I want to ask a question. Is identical twins has the exact same DNA? Does identical twin have the exact same DNA? Identical, meaning they split from one egg, fertilized egg, and they become two. Do they have the exact same DNA? Who said no? Identical twins do not have the exact same DNA. No. Okay. Actually, the answer is yes. Identical twins coming from the same fertilized egg, they have the exact same DNA. So it's very interesting to find out how will two individuals with the exact same copy, if they're brought up in a very different environment, would their health be any significantly different? So I just picked one example. This is a study done in NCBI, the National Center of Biotechnology Institute in America. They found these twin ladies who are separated during World War II because their mom couldn't afford to have two babies. So one had to be sent to UK to be upbringing by the adopted family, and this is the US. So the US sister and the UK sister, so they were worlds apart. They were also 70 over years apart. So it's very interesting to find out how these twins differ in terms of their genetics. I will just highlight on the health conditions over here. So this is, you can read about their news. This is the original paper by NCBI, and you see over here at the conclusion, you can read it because I don't have time to go through all this. Can you all see the medical health? So they are 70 over years old. The UK sister actually complained that they had more problems, but this could be due to upbringing, because the US healthcare system that the US sister subscribed to is a private health care. So eventually her health, if you can see from her looks just now, she looked more youthful, more youthful and well maintained because she seeks medical attention from private institute. While the UK sister actually rely on, not to badmouth anyone, but rely on the government, which is more scarce in resources and more stretched in their attention. So the UK sister actually looks more, I would say, frail when you think about it. When you look at the picture just now, the UK one, she had more darker eyes and all those things. So how can two individuals with the exact same DNA still have so much huge difference in terms of health? So the message that I want to deliver to you is that although in many circumstances you may think like, I don't want to know my gene information because I'm not sure how I can tackle it. My message to you is this: a lot of the things in life we also can't choose, but we still live on and we make the best out of our life. So why not take an informed choice about health and do a genetic screening for yourself? So this is a choice for you, and the technology is there. My part is to create awareness. My part is also to release the anxiety that even though you may have certain gene markers to certain cancer, it's not the end of the world yet. All the more reason we can take more preventive measures based on the known information. You can tell your doctor, can I do more screening for my heart? For that son that already has a brother that died of sudden cardiac arrest, now you could take care of your body, stop smoking, stop drinking. Those are the lifestyle things that make your health so much more better. And maybe you would be the healthier version of yourself if you take good care of yourself. Alright, so that kind of concludes my session. If you are still on the Slido, I hope you are. Just give a star rating over there. I don't know whether the polls are on or not, but you can give your rating and give us a comment. So I open to Q&A. How much time do we have? I don't have the watch.
I think we've got time for a couple questions. I have a couple questions myself. Siapa ada soalan? And you guys any questions at all for Sean? No prize, yeah?
I got a simple question.
Yeah.
I have vitiligo, so will it affect my kids?
Vitiligo, that means this autoimmune disease. Autoimmune diseases usually is inherited, but it is a disease onset. So don't worry. It will trigger, but it will not be a definite thing. So just take good care of your health, just monitor your conditions properly. Okay? Alright. Ken?
Any other questions from floor? I actually have a question. So let's say if I come from a long line of, my family, for example, has diabetes, is it 120% passed on to, will the children get 100, or is there a chance that it will miss or skip a generation or skip a child?
Alright.
How does that work?
So genetics get 50% from your father, 50% from your mother. So the genetic will be there because there's a 50% chance of getting it. Genetics also have dominant gene and recessive gene. So you may be a carrier, but you may not express it. So there's a lot of possibility about it. What we have in Malaysian Genomic Resource Center is that we screen for cardiovascular and metabolic diseases, which include diabetes 1 and diabetes 2. So it is traceable. But again, it doesn't mean that you're destined to get diabetes. It's just that maybe you need to take better care of yourself so that it doesn't have the onset of diabetes. Yeah.
Any other questions, guys? Any questions? Yes, no? Questions? Actually, I've always been under the impression that kalau nak dapat, you want to get the whole test done, right? To find out what your genetics are, what are you susceptible for. Is it very expensive here in Malaysia? Out of curiosity.
Out of curiosity, okay. Yeah. So when the Human Genome Project started 2 decades ago, I think 2003, no, not 2 decades, more than 1 decade, it cost the US government $1 to sequence 1 nucleotide. So we have 3 billion nucleotides. So it costed $3 billion to sequence the whole book of life for the human being. But for the past decade, the price has significantly dropped. Technology became more accessible, volume became larger, and there were more and more demand. In Malaysia, it has dwindled down to less than 2K. 2K is still a big sum to a lot of people. Okay, 2K is still a lot. But comparing 2K ringgit to 3 billion US dollar, we have progressed a lot. It's like floppy disk. It's like maybe your hard disk. Back then, well, one floppy disk 3.4 megabyte. I think this generation is not the one to see the floppy disk before. 3.4, wow, very getting already megabyte. Now we're talking about 1 to 8 gigabyte, and we're still like meh, like that. So that represents how technology is getting more and more cheaper. And maybe, who knows, maybe a genetic test might be just as cheap, as affordable, and as accessible as any other blood test in the near future. Okay?
That is very, very good to know. I think we've got time for one last question. One last question on the floor. Anyone wants to ask? You want to ask a question? Yeah? You have a question to ask? Yeah? You want to know? No? Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, everyone. You had a question?
So if you want to get this test done, what would you extract from the patient? Is it blood or is it...
Alright. Cool.
Very good question.
We have... Okay, a lot of people were saying like, can I order this online? And there are providers like, I know I'm not supposed to mention this, but there's one owned by Google, and you can find out who runs it, you know already. They made it so affordable that you can screen it at $100 for your inheritance, blah blah blah. But what we work closely is that we want our panel to be informative to doctors, and we only made it available through doctors because we don't want some people who just did the test and they got depression or some shock that I don't know how to interpret what I should do. So we always tell them like, go see the doctors that we work with, and then the doctor will advise you, okay, and find out why do you really want to do this genetic screening. Because I have a family history, because I think I might be at risk, because my other siblings also have it, so you do the screening for yourself. So you actually, over at NJRC, we go in through the hospitals and you get the blood test done. Of course, blood, for those who are afraid of needles, you can also do the buccal swab. You know the CSI, people just spit like that and they get their DNA. That's false. It's not so easy to get your DNA. What you need to do is that we give you a small little brush and you kind of scrub your inner cheek to scrape the cell, because your inner cheek here recovers faster. So you really need to scrape, get some of your cell, and you put it in the desiccator, let it dry, and we extract whatever DNA that we can yield. Of course, blood is the best. Blood is still the most rich, and definitely we will get the result. Sometimes people do buccal swab, then they end up eating something before they buccal swab, then you get food DNA inside. So we always advise before you do the buccal swab, also make sure you fast for 1 hour, or you don't brush your teeth. You just gargle. You don't brush your teeth. You just buccal swab. You get the DNA. Also can. Depends on you. But what we always say is that do it through the doctors. So when the result come in, there's a medically trained person to advise you what you should do with the result, and not like, oh, I'm gonna have BRCA. Am I gonna die? Blah blah blah. We don't want that to happen. Okay?
I can imagine you going to the doctor and the doctor saying, hey, I don't know how to tell you this, but you're 50% chicken. That's pretty boring.
Okay.
So ladies and gents, that was really, really informative. Please give a big round of applause. Sean, thank you very, very, very much. Okay, so we're not only, I mean, this is just one talk out of many that we had in the last couple of days, so I really hope you guys had a lot of fun. There's a lot more things to do right here at PetroSains because we are turning 20 and we're super excited to have you guys around. We're not only going to give you more prizes, but there's going to be an illusionist who will be performing here later on, and so much more. If you haven't checked out as well, we have terrarium building, we have some activities here. A lot of things are... Alright, basically, we even have science shows that's happening at Sparks and mini activities. If you go here, straight down to the left hand side, to the left, there's an alpha and beta room as well, where there are a lot more activities where you can build your own gas indicator, so much stuff. Alright, if you want to do your own claymation, digital animation as well, just go straight here to the right side in Maker Studio. Just register yourself and we'll let you give it a go. Alright? So lots of things happening here at PetroSains. And remember, kalau nak menang hadiah lagi. That's right, we're giving out a lot of stuff. Make sure you hashtag PetroSains turns 20 bila ambil selfie. You take a selfie of yourself with the logo or with any one of us. Tag us on. We want to see all the photos, right? The more creative it is, the happier we are. Alright? Thank you guys very, very much. Hope you've enjoyed yourself. Please give Sean a round of applause again. Thank you very, very much. We'll catch you guys in just a short while with more presents and more performances.